Welcome to our talk for today, another in our series seeking to look at key elements of the Christian faith. Today we're looking at who Jesus was, seeking to address two critical questions. The first is whether he did actually exist, or is the whole thing a myth, a legend, a made-up story? If we can conclude that the existence of such a man is proven, then was he a liar in what he said? Was he a deranged lunatic? Or was he actually who he said he was? The most detailed record of the life and death of Jesus comes, understandably, from the four Gospels and other New Testament writings. These are all Christian and are obviously and understandably biased in what they report. But their central claim about Jesus as a historical figure, a Jew with followers, executed on the orders of the Roman governor of Judea, Pontius Pilate, during the reign of Emperor Tiberius, are borne out by other non-Christian sources with a completely different set of biases. Jesus was mentioned by contemporary Jewish and Roman historians in passages that corroborate portions of the New Testament that describe the life and death of Jesus. Yet these are written by people who do not believe in Jesus in the way the Bible teaches. In fact, they would happily destroy any evidence of Jesus if they could. The first century Jewish historian Flavius Josephus wrote one of the earliest non-biblical accounts of Jesus, referring to him in his 20-volume Jewish Antiquities, which examines the history of the Jewish people. He was around when the early church was growing and was contemporary with many of Jesus' friends and disciples, although he was never a believer or follower himself. That actually is significant. This is not a man trying to prove anything about Jesus, just providing a historical narrative. Despite not being a believer, he does refer to Jesus in one place as Jesus who is called Messiah. Elsewhere, he describes Jesus as a man who did surprising deeds and was condemned to be crucified by Pilate. Another early account is found in the Annals of Imperial Rome, a historical account of the history of the Roman Empire written by the Roman senator Tacitus. Tacitus himself had no sympathy for Christianity and was quite disdainful about Christians. Despite this antagonism, he clearly refers to Christus, the founder of the name, was put to death by Pontius Pilate, procurator of Judea in the reign of Tiberius. Now, when Tacitus wrote history, if he considered the information was not entirely reliable, he wrote some indication of that for his readers. There is no such indication given of any potential error in the passage that mentions Christus. Shortly before Tacitus penned his account of Jesus, the Roman governor Pliny the Younger wrote to Emperor Trajan that early Christians would sing hymns to Christ as to a god. There are many more sources I could quote, but the critical point of quoting these non-Christian sources is that while they might not impart much information about the life of Jesus, no one thought he was made up. He's referred to by contemporary historians in much the same way that modern historians might refer to Queen Victoria, Teddy Roosevelt, Benjamin Disraeli. Three enormously influential figures from history. And even today you will find people who are tremendous supporters of these people. You will find people who are very critical of them. Many are ambivalent towards them. Many have no strong opinions at all. But you will not find anyone who doubts their existence. The cross, symbolising Christ's saving death by crucifixion, has been a sacred sign and symbol for Christians from the beginning. Indeed, the crucifixion of Jesus is a real event in history and is at the heart of the Christian faith. The evidence is strongly in favour of a real historical crucifixion of Jesus, and here are 4 reasons why. Firstly, early sources confirm the crucifixion of Jesus. The Gospels were written 35 to 65 years after the events they describe. St. Paul's epistles were written even earlier. His first letter to the Corinthians was written around AD 55. It contains the words you read on your screen. Although this creed does not explicitly mention crucifixion, earlier in the same epistle Paul mentions Christ crucified on multiple occasions, confirming the sort of death that Jesus died. Second, multiple ancient sources from Christians and non-Christians. Early non-Christian sources confirm the case, as the quotes on this slide bear out. Roman historian Tacitus, the Greek writer Lucian, the pagan scholar Mara bar Serapion, who was a Stoic philosopher from the Roman province of Syria. They all bear testimony to the Lord Jesus. It's important to note the great diversity of genres that mention this event: ancient biography, historiography, creed, epistle, hymn. It'd be absurd to indifferently pass over the broad impact of Jesus' death in the ancient world. Third, we have the eyewitness testimony. Recent scholarship persuasively confirms that the 4 Gospels are based on eyewitness testimony. A leading scholar in this area, Richard Bauckham, concludes the Gospels embody the testimony of the eyewitness in a way that is substantially faithful to how the eyewitnesses themselves told it. He further argues that St. John's Gospel is not merely based on first-hand testimony, but written by an eyewitness to the crucifixion. This is suggested in John's epilogue, where the evangelist himself confirms, "This is the disciple who is bearing witness to these things and who has written these things." And fourth, we have embarrassing testimony. If I were to write a gospel account, indeed if most contemporary Christians were to write down the story of Jesus, there would probably be an overwhelming temptation to portray him as a superhero, someone with no doubts, no weaknesses, no faults, everything portrayed as truly wonderful. But the Passion narratives sparkle with authenticity because of their uncensored portrayal of Jesus' suffering. Scenes such as Jesus' agony in Gethsemane, his anguished cry of my God, why have you forsaken me?" portray a weakened, suffering Messiah. Reports of a weaker Jesus at his arrest and crucifixion could cause embarrassment in contrast. But historians consider the criterion of embarrassment to be an important consideration when determining a source's reliability. Thus, these potentially unflattering details in the Passion accounts are unlikely inventions. A few final quotes from those who are not followers of Jesus. Byron McCain said, "I do not know, nor have I heard of, any trained historian or archaeologist who has doubts about his existence." Eric Myers, "Those who deny the existence of Jesus are like deniers of climate change." Critic John Dominic Crossan, he wrote, "Jesus' death by crucifixion under Pontius Pilate is as sure as any historical event can ever be." If you would like to know more, then please talk to someone who is a true Christian, or contact anyone at the church at the addresses given on this slide. Or, if you're local, why not pop in to see us one Sunday morning? You will always be welcome.